Today we're going to make some beans. This is survival beans, and we're going to make it with pure preps. The ingredients we're going to need are pinto beans. You're going to need some dehydrated onion. Again, I'm trying to show how to do this in a SHTF situation. So let's use our dehydrated vegetables. Dehydrated onion, our dehydrated celery, bacon. A lot of you remember I canned up a lot of bacon June or August of last year. You can use some cumin if you like cumin. I like cumin, so we're going to use that. Some kind of bouillon. Usually I use beef bouillon, but today I'm going to use chicken just for a flavor difference. You're going to need salt, and I like to use, the rougher salt, and then you need fresh ground pepper. Now I also use some freeze-dried garlic. I like to use that, or chop up a garlic if it's that time of year. But in an SHTF situation, I'm going to be using everything from storage. I'm also going to use some red pepper flakes, and I'm going to use some dehydrated jalapeno red pepper. Yes, I actually did that. And I have some from my garden. We have green jalapeno peppers, and we're going to be doing those. So you're also going to need a pan to fry up your bacon. Now if you're outside and you're using fire, get a pan and fry up your bacon. I would suggest, if you're doing that, to take your Dutch oven and fry up your bacon in it and just do everything in one pan. And then this is going to be the pan I'm going to put my beans in. First I'm going to fry up my bacon. Now what I did was put this in, I did put this in the microwave for a minute, made the removal of the bacon a lot easier. But otherwise I just scoop it out. I would just scoop it out in a bad situation. I'll turn on the heat and or put it over a fire, and we're going to cook up that bacon till it's crisp. Now I promise you, if you make beans like I make beans, if you do this recipe like I'm telling you, your kids will want it all the time. Well, last night I had we had a couple real good friends over, and I served them beans and rice. Well, they acted like I was serving them prime rib, for Pete's sakes. And yeah, normal good times, I guess I would have been serving them prime rib. But yesterday it was beans and rice, and you know what? And wonderful cornbread. I should make that video too. Oh, that was drop dead cornbread, I should call it, name it. So just fry up this bacon like I'm telling you, and I'm going to teach you to make beans that are most outstanding. Just fry it up. It's just got to cook until it's nice and crumbly. And yes, you're going to use some of the fat, because that's going to be your oil. So we have that bacon all cooked up, and I had to take a bite, of course, and it's nice and crumbly. You see this? It's just nice and crumbly. That's what we want for our beans. Alright, that looks good. Now, I'm looking at making beans for, say, 2 to 4 people today. I'm not looking to make a whole lot. So I'm going to take as a cup, let's go with 2 cups of beans. Okay? And then I would just go ahead and put half of the pan of water. But for those of you that have never made beans, let's just put in 6 cups of water. That's 2 cups of beans to 6 cups of water. And we're going to put in 6. So, now what you do when you're making beans is you usually just let them sit out. And I would do that at night, but I'm going to show you how to make quicker beans. If you forget to put out your beans at night, and trust me, in an SHTF situation, you are going to want beans. Beans are very, very important. Turn on the fire, and we're going to get our beans boiling. Your beans will all rise to the top as they're cooking, and that's just fine, because you've already picked over your beans. You made sure there were no rocks in it, and no floaters, nothing that looked bad. As long as your beans look good, they'll rehydrate real nice. Now, what you will notice is a coloring in the beans. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let this cook for like 10 minutes, and then I'm going to totally drain that water, and we're going to put fresh water in. And what that'll help, that really does help with flatulence. Now that's a fancy word for farts, for the gas. You know, the musical notes that you make when you eat beans. I'm trying not to be unsensitive to some people, but that's just the way it is. And so if you rinse your beans off and then just put in clean water and reboil them up, then you're not going to have that problem. Just do a simple drain. Drain your beans out, and you'll see the color of that water is pretty nasty. Alright, and then all I'm going to do is put the beans back in to the pan, and I'm going to put fresh water on them. And I'm going to do water about, say, 1.5 inches, 2 inches over the beans. And then we're going to add our ingredients, and we're going to let it boil, baby, boil. Here's the magic to making beans. Now we put our pan over our fire source, we turn it on. I'm going to take, now that was a 1/2 pint of bacon. Alright, I'm just going to put everything in there, all the fat. Anybody who's saying icky poo and all that kind of stuff, let me tell you something. I tried all these fancy diets for a long, long time. I was not losing any weight. I went on this diet because, well, I just had to. And guess what? With bacon fat and canned butter and stuff like that, I've lost 8 pounds. And that's just relatively short time, couple weeks. Here's, I'm putting in my garlic, all my peppers. Just go ahead and put that in there. Now onions, I'm going to measure the way Debbie measures. And I would say probably a quarter to 1/3 of a cup of onion. Why? We like it. We like the taste. If you don't like a predominance of onion, please use less. Use an 1/8 of a cup. Use a small, oh boy, can't get that off. Use a smaller measurement. So, oops, it's always easier. That was really sealed. And I'm going to put about 1/4 of a cup of my celery in there too. Okay. As far as, let's go with the, hit it. I'm going to take a nice pinch of black pepper and throw that in. I'm going to go in. I'm going to take a nice pinch of my salt and throw that in. As far as the bouillon, I guess I would say put in 2 to 3 bouillon cubes. Or in my case, I'm putting in what I would say would be equivalent to about 3 bouillon cubes. Just for flavor. Again, the beef is really, really good. I just want something different. I'm just tired of the same old thing. And I'm going to take about 1 teaspoon of cumin. I'm just going to take 1 teaspoon of cumin. I'm going to put that in there. I just put all my ingredients in at once. And then let this cook. Let it boil up and then let it simmer. And you're going to be adding water to this. Okay? You're going to be adding water to this, but just let it open kettle cook. If you're outside, it'll fill your nose with wonderful aromas. It will actually fill your whole house with a nice aroma. And anybody who comes over is going to ask you, hey, what you cooking? That smells good. And you'll be able to have them sit down and have themselves a nice plate of beans and cornbread. If you like cornbread. If you don't, let them have some bread. But I would say to be a complete protein, you need your beans put over rice. And to be honest with you, that's just delicious. And this is how you let it cook up. In an SHTF situation, I'll tell you what, spices are probably going to be worth a lot of money. So everybody else can put their money into gold and silver if that's what you choose. I'm putting it in spices. Spices can make the simplest thing taste wonderful. A few spices Like yesterday I went out in the garden and I pulled up some sage and a few other things, some basil and that, and I made the most wonderful chicken on earth. The spice just permeated that chicken, and it was wonderful. So that's what I'm saying. I am dehydrating and bagging spices. You just keep boiling it, add water to it. You know, when it's done, you'll know. You just pinch it. You'll pinch the bean, and when it mashes together, take it out and taste it. And this will be a syrup. I mean, this will be like a gravy. All you do is just keep adding water, little here, little there, but just keep tasting it. You'll love it. All right. See how nice that's all doing? See how nice? Everything's rehydrating. And just keep cooking it. It'll get a nice thick gravy all on its own. And just let it cook. It's going to take a few hours at least. Just makes your whole house smell really good. Ted, could you show what that looks like in the plate? We put beans and rice together. How's that taste, Ted?
Very, very good.
Okay. And then what else do you have with it?
Pork.
And?
Cornbread.
Yeah.